Hello everyone! Recently I have seen a tweet that reinforces my support for artificial womb technologies and makes me more motivated to support this technology and what it will bring for us. It states the following, as you can see on the screen right now. Quote, artificial wombs would make marriage obsolete. Do you not realize how dehumanizing this is? Unquote. And in this video, I will discuss artificial wombs and why I support them as a MGTOW, even if I disagree with the idea that it's dehumanizing, and why making marriage obsolete would be unfathomably based. Let's begin. So, to briefly explain the artificial womb technology, to save all of us time, it's the idea of having what we already have in a natural womb, but in a machine, and with much better technology than we have right now. It is growing the embryo and the future baby in an artificial machine designed exactly for this purpose with technology, that much of it already exists in the case of incubators for premature babies, by the way, that facilitates this process. With the artificial womb technology, you would also have a greater degree of control over the process of growing the embryo, and you would be able to integrate genetic modification through CRISPR and Cas9, genetic screening to see what kind of genetics the embryo has, and also gender selection, with the caveat of, to the extent possible and not accounting for gender dysphoria, which we don't yet know much about, so it's not entirely bulletproof on that point. And you would also be able to ensure that the end result is a viable baby, in likely even healthier conditions than natural pregnancy, and you would be able to do it without having to depend on women, even for egg cells if you integrate in vitro gametogenesis, and without having to force women to deal with the pain of pregnancy and the burdens as a result. Now, given that I'm a supporter of the existing solutions of in vitro fertilization and surrogacy, as well as genetic modification used for crops and livestock, I'm a supporter of the artificial womb. And this is why. Artificial wombs would help men in finally being able to be entirely free from the plantation, and it would allow them to have kids entirely independent of women. Like I elaborated before, with in vitro gametogenesis, we would be able to continue on being single and being MGTOW to the next generation without the need for even egg cells from women, as we would be able to make our own through this technology. It would cement MGTOW's legacy as a permanent fixture of society and a new normal, rather than some temporary mirror strike until laws improve, as some would wish. It would be the final culmination of the long march towards complete independence. We wouldn't need women anymore for maintaining the birth rates or anything else, and even they benefit as they wouldn't need to be in pain to have kids, and it would sidestep the abortion issue altogether. It would also, as rightly pointed out in the tweet, make marriage completely obsolete and unnecessary for society. From a MGTOW perspective, here is why this is unfathomably and absolutely based, and why I 100% support this. Marriage, long-term non-platonic relationships, that is to say romantic ones, and cohabitation are all essentially the plantation that screws you over if you make the mistake of entering it and participating in it. Marriage itself strips you of your freedom to live your life the way you want to, and permanently ties you to another person and what they want, thus making it impossible for you to go your own way. And if you're unfortunate enough, it also screws you over via divorce court and the way no-fault divorce currently works, and it does that using alimony in most cases, and where children are involved, child support. This is why marriage is bad for us men, but the artificial womb would essentially solve every single one of these problems and render marriage to no longer be necessary even for men that want a family. By eliminating the need for marriage and the last incentives that exist for it that encourage it, you weaken the plantation and you weaken all of the industries that are built upon it. The diamond ring industry, and especially the greedy divorce courts and divorce lawyers that profit off of current laws. And you also 100% end the wealth redistribution that comes with the divorce courts and the current implementation of no-fault divorce as it exists. This ends all of our problems and is, in my view, the best solution to this problem, and due to the fact it ends this problem, it is the pro-MGTOW solution in my viewpoint. Finally, to end this off, I believe we have two choices to answer the current challenges that exist. One is to go back into the past and have a traditional patriarchy, and the other is to move forward and have this technological future, and in effect, MGTOW be established as the permanent new normal for men and the way things work from now on. I strongly believe we should choose the second option when making this choice, and that we should move forward, looking into the future and not the past, as we get way more benefits than the patriarchy would give us, which, despite appearing to be pro-male, never actually did anything about male disposability and the unequal social norms that were imposed upon us. We have the opportunity to end the plantation for good, and in my view, it would be incredibly based for it to end, and that's why as a MGTOW I will support the technological future, as many other MGTOWs, including Barbar, did before me, and will continue to do so, long after my time here has passed, if it were to come to that. Still though, what I say here is my opinion, and I don't think anyone's thoughts or actions should be dictated by them, and I would want my fellow MGTOWs to exercise their critical thinking skills here and decide for themselves if this is the best solution to our problems and course of action. I do, however, strongly request that everyone watching here at least consider my point of view and evaluate it instead of dismissing it, as the trends point to the solution I discuss here being more viable than a return to traditional norms. With that being said, this has been Igor MGTOW and Video Games. Like and subscribe and click the bell notifications on YouTube if you enjoyed the video, and follow me on odyssey.com, MGTOW.tv, Twitter and Rumble. And bye bye. Thanks for watching.